are red-crested skinks, and you go to patch 6.3. I feel like these get misunderstood a lot, but that's okay. They're especially strong with Tehenhauin, that's intended. Let me go over how they can be usable and good with others, but by no means are they your toughest troops. They do dish out pain, though. Recruited for 525 gold and 131 upkeep, on an ultra scale, you get 120 skinks at 8,040 health. In other words, 75% of the entities of the normal unit, a rounding error within the exact same health. Armor is 30, but since they use two-handed weapons, no shields, ever. This is part of why they take damage easily, and that's an issue for auto-resolve, by the way. Leadership is 62 default in current patch. Speed 46 and charge speed 52 matches regular skink cohorts. Melee attack begins at 26, or 6 better than cohorts, and each attack has poison with it, even without the campaign tech for it, so it applies to multiplayer. This means that they are tougher quote-unquote in melee because they're poisoning foes. Attack interval 4.6 is a bit longer than usual, no splash damage. Melee defense starts at a mere 20. Weapon strength arrives at 27, but that's split base 6 into armor piercing 21, so that's a lot of armor piercing damage saying goodbye to armor. Bye-bye! I will note that this total, 27, is better than skinks with 25 total with their base heavy damage. So even against flagellants dressed in rags, they'll do more damage. Armor-piercing damage is guaranteed. It is not wasted. Charge bonus is 25, and mass is 80. This is not a small charge bonus value, nearly doubling melee attack and weapon strength. The unit counts as a skink for spawn-kin purposes, gaining causes fear with Kroxigor big bros nearby, can hide in forest. These days they have immunity to contact effects, so dazed, blinded, poison, none of it works on them. Also, they get frenzy. So, plus 10 melee attack, plus 10% weapon strength, and plus 10% charge bonus, and immunity to psychology as long as morale holds up. It won't forever with the damage that they will take, but okay, it's still nice. Keep in mind, the basic skink cohort starts at melee attack 20, melee defense 24. This is modified melee attack 36, melee defense 20. Doesn't seem so bad, does it? And before I forget, yes, it has primal instincts when below 50% health, and 30 seconds have cooled down. In the redline skills, 3 pips of Skirmisher offers melee defense plus 6, weapon strength plus 12%, missile strength doesn't matter. Spawnkin gives rank 7 red cresteds, leadership plus 5, melee defense plus 5 again, and missile resistance 15%, which is very helpful. In the tech tree, a lot is going on. Tablet of the Skinks instantly steps on plus 20% ammunition, poison for melee is superfluous here, and recruitment cost minus 10%. Skink spawning gives plus 2 recruit rank, sequence of quickness gives speed plus 10%, getting them in melee contact faster, and melee defense plus 3 again. Sequence of skirmishing gives missile strength plus 10% and range plus 10%. Sequence of purpose gives enhanced spawn kin for plus 5 melee defense with Kroxigors and plus 10% weapon strength besides, and skink invigoration for minus 20% fatigue buildup and minus 10% upkeep. In addition to this, Rite of Sotek, while active, would give them melee attack plus 10, weapon strength plus 15%, and ammunition doesn't matter. So in such a state of frenzied agitation, it's like a second dose of frenzy. It gets crazy in the best way. That's when you declare World War Skink. So how do we use red-crested skinks? I return again to say that armor-piercing damage is not wasted, quote-unquote, against low-armor targets. Not when melee attack is a minimum of 36 until the unit is so beat up it scarcely matters. Put this unit against a bunch of clan rats, and the clan rats are going to have a very bad time, even with superior numbers. The red-crested skinks will take damage, yes, but they're going to dish out a lot. In campaign, the chief other weakness of the unit, besides lack of shields, melee defense, starts to skyrocket upwards, and even more so when this unit, more than all of its kin, works with Kroxigors for brutal armor-piercing melee work and extra defense without tech. I know, I understand. You are trained to reflexively think that Saurus are the damage dealers. And yes, Saurus warriors can do 18 points of armor piercing per hit, attack often, and do a lot more base damage, but as I mentioned in that video, Saurus infantry requires space. They need elbow room. They cannot squish into the same mosh pits that red-crested skinks can against massed infantry of small size, and red-crested skinks are mashing and crushing left and right against those foes. So the damage they inflict, even though the per entity amount is less, can get inflicted in a way that is actually more favorable to you in the here and now. Source will win eventually, red-crested skinks will win faster at times, but with more risk to themselves. But that's why you send in the Kroxigors, you know? And I mean, yes, they'll get shot at, they'll get beaten, you'll lose a bunch, entities and units. But as lizards go, they're fanatics for the cause, they don't cost that much to recruit. They're tier 1 from the only tier 1 military building you can even get in the faction, not counting tier 0 settlement recruitment, and if you understand how to use them, avoid being pincushions, take the fights on the margins that you can win, take advantage of their speed, not so much flanking as pushing. You can make them sing. There are a lot of problems with this that are easy to point out. They aren't a solution to archer stacks, they don't have special resistance to being run over by cavalry or chariots, not until the skink chiefs get to high level. And these are simply not anti-large. Well, they have such high melee attack they don't need to be anti-large specifically at this level of entities. For the middle part, that is a big part of what Kroxigors are there for sheer mass and blocking the charges. In a mosh pit, these skinks don't play around, and cavalry and chariots will not prosper, so long term, the biggest problem is archer spam, and they have no special resistances to getting spell bombarded. That's why you need to view them as more expendable than some of your other forces, but also as force multipliers for other units, like highly disruptive dinosaurs. They can be not just good, but excellent. And of course, a Tehenhauin doomstack has them as decently armored, shieldless fanatics with crazy brawling stats that make you think they're chosen or something. No, it's not going to work well against everyone and everything, but I was pulling this stuff before Spawnkin the mechanic was a thing. You recent spawns have it easy. Take care and have fun bashing a two-footed rat's skull in. Make Sotek smile.